So this one is just conceptual. I don't think we'll ever have to deal with this, but it's just types of forces. This should be pretty simple. Um, so fundamental versus non-fundamental forces. The easiest way to understand this is that fundamental forces are gravitational, strong nuclear, and electroweak. But the easier way to understand it is that fundamental forces are basically the forces that are in nature and are basically the building blocks of forces. In other words, the non-fundamental forces are forces that can be explained from the fundamental forces, but you can't really explain the fundamental forces. I know you can, but the non-fundamental forces are all just explained by these three fundamental forces, and as a result, these are basically the only forces. It's kind of like in chemistry when you have nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine. You can't really break down the atoms into further components. You technically could with protons, neutrons, and electrons, but those atoms make compounds. So think of the fundamental forces kind of like the atoms, and the non-fundamental forces kind of like the molecules or compounds. So this is just a history. If you guys know James Clerk Maxwell, super brilliant genius. Um, Helped make the Boltzmann-Maxwell temperature distribution graph. But in the 1860s and 70s, Maxwell unified the electric plus magnetic forces, forming the idea of the electromagnetic force, which just has to do with electric plus magnetic forces. 1970s, Glashow, Salam, Weinberg unified the electromagnetic plus electroweak forces. So remember the strong nuclear force. The strong nuclear force, the electroweak force, and the gravitational forces are the three fundamental forces of nature. The electroweak force has to do with electromagnetic plus weak nuclear force. The strong nuclear force just has to do with what holds the nucleus together in an atom. Because remember, in an atom, all the protons are positive, which kind of repel each other. And the question is why it doesn't rip apart, and that's due to the strong nuclear force, which quite really isn't explained, or I don't understand it. So, and then we have gravity, which we'll learn about in the next lesson. So you don't really have to know this, but this is just something cool and the history behind it. So.